two European heavyweights, one century-old rivalry, and a knockout tie that already feels bigger than a round of 16 game has any right to be. By the time this whistle blows in Arlington, one of the two most talented squads left in this tournament is going home, and nobody in world football saw this bracket collapsing on Portugal and Spain this early. Let's set the stage properly, because context matters here more than almost any other fixture left in the competition. This isn't just Portugal versus Spain. This is Cristiano Ronaldo at what is very likely his final World Cup, against a Spanish side that has been the most ruthlessly efficient team in the entire tournament. And the numbers back that up. Heading into this match, Portugal have won just one of their last 12 competitive meetings with Spain, and that solitary win came more than 20 years ago at Euro 2004, courtesy of a Nuno Gomes goal. Read that stat again. 12 meetings, 1 win. That's the psychological weight Roberto Martinez's players are carrying into this stadium, Al Jazeera. But history in the biggest moments tells a slightly different story, and this is where it gets interesting for Portugal fans. In their 5 previous meetings at major tournaments, Spain and Portugal have split things almost perfectly, 1 win apiece and 3 draws. That includes the unforgettable 2018 World Cup group stage draw, 3-3, in which Ronaldo scored a sublime hat-trick, and their last knockout meeting, a goalless draw in the Euro 2012 semi-final that Spain eventually won on penalties. So when the stakes are highest, this rivalry has a habit of going right to the wire. That trend alone should terrify neutrals and delight anyone who loves knockout football. Al Jazeera +2. Now let's talk about the form Spain are carrying into Dallas, because this is the part that should worry Portugal the most. La Roja arrive unbeaten in their last 34 matches, with 25 wins and 9 draws, one shy of equaling their longest ever unbeaten run. Only Italy, with a 37-match run between 2018 and 2021, have gone longer among European nations. And the man overseeing this run, Luis de la Fuente, has a resume that's starting to look historic in its own right. He's unbeaten in his first 11 matches at either a World Cup or a Euros, 10 wins, 1 draw, while conceding just 4 goals in that stretch. If Spain get past Portugal tonight, De La Fuente would join Aimé Jacquet and Louis van Gaal as the only managers ever to go unbeaten through their first 12 major tournament matches. That's the company he's chasing. Think about that for a second. This isn't just a good coach on a hot streak. This is a manager potentially writing himself into the managerial history books tonight. Al Jazeera +3. And the defensive record underlines just how disciplined this Spain side has been. Coming into this game, Spain hadn't conceded a single goal through the group stage, and they're chasing an unprecedented 6 straight World Cup clean sheet. 6 in a row at a World Cup. That's not a fluke, that's a structural identity. A backline and a pressing system built with zero tolerance for chaos. ESPN. How did they get here? Spain steamrolled Austria 3-0 in the round of 32, with Mikel Oyarzabal scoring a brace and Pedro Porro adding a header. Clean, clinical, exactly the kind of dominant performance you'd expect from a team that plays with total control of possession and space. Compare that to Portugal's route into this fixture, which was far messier and, frankly, far more revealing. ESPN. Because here's where the real story of this match begins, and it's not really about Spain at all. It's about Cristiano Ronaldo and what Roberto Martinez decides to do with him. Against Croatia in the previous round, Ivan Perisic put Croatia ahead before Ronaldo equalized from the penalty spot in the second half. Vintage nerve under pressure, no hesitation from 12 yards, the kind of moment that reminds you why he's still here at this age. But then Martinez made the call that's dominated the build-up to this game all week. He hauled Ronaldo off in the 81st minute with the game still level, and by every account, Ronaldo did not take it well, shaking his head, muttering, visibly reluctant to leave the pitch. And then, almost as if the football gods wanted to make a point, Gonçalo Ramos came on, took over as the central focal point of the attack, and scored the winning goal in the 94th minute. ESPN +2. Sit with that sequence for a moment, because it's the single biggest tactical subplot heading into tonight. A soon-to-be 41-year-old legend gets substituted in visible frustration, and the guy who replaces him wins the game in stoppage time. That's not just a nice story, that's a genuine selection dilemma for Roberto Martinez, live in real time, with the biggest game of the tournament so far on the line. So what does Martinez actually do tonight? All the indications are that Ronaldo starts through the middle. The odds, the body language and training, the sheer occasion of it all point that way. But here's the nuance that gets lost if you only look at the headline. Ronaldo was actually dropped entirely for the round of 16 clash against Switzerland the tournament before this one. So Martinez has already shown in this exact competition that he's willing to leave his talisman out when he thinks the matchup demands it. Whether he does that again against a Spain side chasing a 6th straight clean sheet is the single most fascinating team selection question of the entire knockout stage so far. ESPN+2. And even if Ronaldo does start, the more relevant question might be whether he finishes. Martinez has already proven against Croatia that he'll make the substitution regardless of reputation, regardless of ego, regardless of how it looks in the moment. If this game is level again in the final 20 minutes, do not be surprised if we see that exact same movie play out. Ronaldo off, Ramos on, and Portugal looking for a repeat of history. Now flip to the other marquee individual battle, because this fixture has two of the most electric attacking talents in world football on opposite sides of the pitch. Ronaldo, the sport's most decorated icon, up against Lamine Yamal, the teenager who represents everything Spanish football wants its future to look like. That generational contrast, a career ending against a career just beginning, is exactly the kind of narrative theater that turns a round of 16 tie into appointment viewing. Tactically, here's what to actually watch for once the ball is rolling. Portugal's midfield, stacked with talent in Vitinha, João Neves, and Bruno Fernandes, has not been at its best through the group stage and into the knockouts. 3 players with elite technical profiles, but a trio that hasn't yet found its rhythm as a unit. And defensively, Portugal have been living dangerously. Croatia actually outshot them 6 attempts to 3 in the previous round, and it was only marginal offside calls that spared Martinez's side from a much more uncomfortable night. Against a Spain team this clinical in possession, that kind of defensive fragility gets punished far more ruthlessly than it did against Croatia. ESPN. So Portugal's path to victory almost certainly has to go through control of the ball and quick direct transitions rather than a slow, patient possession game. Because if Spain gets 60-65% of the ball, the kind of numbers they've been posting all tournament, Portugal's defense is going to be facing wave after wave of structured, patient attacking football, and we've already seen cracks against a side far less talented than this Spain team. The counter-argument for Portugal, though, and it's a real one, is this exact matchup's history in do-or-die moments. Remember, these two teams met in last year's Nations League final, and Portugal came back twice to force it to 2-2 before winning it on penalties. That's not ancient history. That's this generation of Portuguese players against this generation of Spanish players, showing they have the mentality to claw back into a game against the run of play when the pressure is at its absolute maximum. If there's a template for how Portugal wins tonight, it's exactly that. Soak up spells of Spanish dominance, stay in the game at all costs, and trust the individual brilliance of Ronaldo, Ramos, or Bernardo Silva to produce a moment out of nothing. Al Jazeera, for Spain, the blueprint is almost the mirror opposite. Control territory, control the ball, force Portugal into deeper and deeper defensive shapes, and trust that the sheer volume of chances eventually produces goals, the same way it did against Austria. De La Fuente's sides don't typically panic, they don't typically chase the game, they simply keep applying pressure until the door opens. And given they haven't conceded all tournament, the pressure on Portugal to actually create clear-cut chances, rather than just survive, is enormous. Whichever way this goes, the stakes attached to it are almost unfair for a round of 16 fixture. This has been billed, fairly or not, as one of the matches that could shape who lifts this trophy in a few weeks' time, purely because of the level of talent being eliminated regardless of the outcome. One of Ronaldo or Yamal's World Cups ends tonight in Arlington. One of these managers keeps a remarkable unbeaten record alive, and one sees it end in the most painful way possible. So here's the real question heading into kickoff. Does Roberto Martinez trust Cristiano Ronaldo for the full 90, knowing what happened last time out? Or does history repeat itself with Gonçalo Ramos waiting in the wings? And can Portugal's defense, which has already been exposed once this tournament, hold up against the most clinical, most disciplined side left in the competition? Drop your prediction in the comments before kickoff. I want to see who's actually backing Portugal to end that 12-game curse, and who thinks Spain's run to history continues right on schedule. If this breakdown helped you see the game differently, make sure you're subscribed to Goal Theory, because the second that final whistle blows, we'll be back with the full tactical post-mortem. What actually happened, what changed the game, and what it means for both of these nations moving forward. See you in the next one.